Okay, so anyway, so the in the beginning it's not necessary. So you can go through the slides and you'll understand more or less everything. So magnetic storage in a so when we talk about magnetic storage, so we store the information in magnetic domains, as I said before. So domains provide, so they have certain magnetization as well as certain direction, so that you can encode information in them in a very specific way and without and you can keep it. So these magnetic storage devices, this hard disk, for example, is like a very good example of non-volatile memory, and that means, and why they are non-volatile, because these magnetic domains, even if you switch off, the domains will remain as they are, and therefore the information will remain or will be stored without getting lost. And each in a digital sense, so when we talk about a digital storage, so each domain, so you can assign a value 0 or 1 depending on its orientation, because it is so you this is represented by a magnetization vector, so which has a direction, so you can define it, so you can align your domain and then you can define it as a 1 0 like a bit. And then so this is one thing about the storing the information, but also it is not only stored, so you should be able to read and write this information as well. So otherwise this does not really help in that sense. So you need also technology, so which can, by which you can write information. So that means writing means you can change the orientation of domains, and then reading means you can read what is the whether it is oriented along uh, like does it represent 0 or 1, so what is the direction of orientation. So these things you have to do, and that is this technology is known as a recording head or read and write head. So there are two distinct parts in a magnetic storage device. So one, a device which will store the information. So that is a very almost another well-developed technology. So so how you can use a magnetic materials or the domains. So how you can shape the domains, how you can manipulate them. So all these things will lead to the storing. So how so we'll look at that. And then another aspect is how you can read and write this information. So that is also another technology. And in fact, this magnetic storage is one of the best example of like how research started in uh, in terms of thin film development, in terms of nanotechnology. Okay, so those research that really translated well into industries. So application of so going from, let's say, a nanoscience to a nanotechnology. So this magnetic storage is one of the best examples. Okay, so let's look at this magnetic tapes or wires. So this is so I will show few animations. Yeah. So what you have is here is a so you have a magnetic core here. So it is a magnetic material, and you basically like what you have in a transformer. So you have a coil there, and then when you apply current, so you can generate a flux, magnetic flux. It is like an electromagnet. Okay, and then so this is your tape. Here is So this is how you can read the information from the tape. So you have the tape that is moving underneath here, and you have the recording head here. So this is your recording head. And then when this magnetic material, so tape is basically it's moving underneath this your recording or reading head. And what happens is, this is due to this movement, so there will be a change in flux. Okay, so this is a magnetic material, it has a magnetization, or it generates some magnetic field as well. And when it moves, so it creates a changing magnetic field, and due to this changing magnetic field, it will induce a current in your uh, reading or your recording head, and this induced current will be then amplified, and later on you can read it. So what is the signal, so that you can read it and retrieve the information. So this is how, so in this one you can use, so you can apply a current here, and you can generate a magnetic field, and this magnetic field can change the magnetic domain pattern on your magnetic tape. So magnetic tape is nothing but had some magnetic materials in it. And so when you change this, so by applying a particular current, so you know what is the signal that you are applying, and you can then write something on your magnetic material. And to read it, so you do the same, so the tape will move, but instead of applying a current in the coil, so due to this movement of the tape, so it creates or induces a current due to this changing magnetic field, and that you can amplify and you can read. So very simple technique, which was already quite well known for magnetic materials, and that was used to storing, then reading and writing purposes. So this is again the same animation showed here in pictures, quite the same thing what I explained already, that you have the tape, which is a magnetic material. So in the beginning, most likely the magnetization is all random, so there is nothing, you have not stored anything on it. Now when you apply a current, so that will give rise to a specific, like a particular, will generate a magnetic field, and the domains will be aligned in a particular direction. So here again, what you see is, so some domains, like on the left, for example, extremely left. So what you see, some domains are like pointing to the right, and some are pointing to the left. And this you can do by changing the direction of current in your wire. So if you change the direction of the current, so you can change the magnetic poles basically. So you can change, so depending on the current direction, so you can make one north and south, or you can change the reverse, the polarity, and you can change the polarity of your magnet as well. And that is how you can write or make different orientation for your domains. And that is how you can write something. So similarly, you can also read the same way. So now when you move the tape, so as you saw before, so this there will be a change in the magnetic flux, and that will induce a current in your coil, and that you can amplify, and you can read it with your electronics, and then you can convert it into your, like if you have a song or something, so you can play it better. And what is the magnetic material that is normally used for these magnetic tapes? They're also very cheap I mean, these magnetic tapes were very cheap. So you use iron oxide, so different, so gamma iron 203 or iron 304, uh, and and if you want a better, even people also use chromium dioxide as well. Uh, and what is Yeah, so this is again another picture of the same thing, this recording head. And this recording head is nothing but an electromagnet. And so you can see how the domains can be arranged due to the magnetic flux lines that is produced by the your recording head. So what you need as a material, what kind of material would be ideal for your storage devices? So that means it should have a high enough cohesivity so that it does not get demagnetization. So you you all know about the magnetic hysteresis loops. So in a hysteresis loop, so if you apply a field, so you have certain magnetization, but if you want to reverse the magnetization, so you can apply a cohesive field, and that will lead to a random orientation of your magnets, and that can really lead to a zero magnetization of your sample. Even if it is ferromagnetic, the magnetization will be zero when you apply a field of the order of cohesive field. And that means you choose a magnetic material so that, so in your magnetic material, so you can have some local magnetic field or some stray field, and neighboring domains can also produce some field on your magnetic neighboring magnetic domains, and that can lead to a demagnetization. So therefore you need material where the cohesivity field is higher. But again, it should not be that high so that you are not able to write it using an electromagnet. So if you need a very high magnetic field to reverse the magnetization. So suppose your domains are aligned to the right, now you want to orient them to the left. Okay, so that means you have to reverse, so you have to go through the whole hysteresis. And so let's say the positive alignment is your positive saturation, so that you to go to the negative saturation, so you have to go through the cohesivity. Okay, that means, and if the cohesivity is too large, so if it is uh, so that means you have to apply a large current, and that is also not desirable. So it will be then difficult to write with a, I mean that writing is not easy anymore. So reversal of domains is not easy, and therefore you need, so a optimum, you need an optimum value of cohesivity. So it should not be too high and it should not be also too low. And of course, you also need a high enough magnetization, which will be able to produce the signal, so which you can read. So if the magnetization of the material is too low, so then when the magnetic tape is moving underneath, so you will not have enough. So of course, there will be a change in the magnetic flux that would lead to a change in the, or induce a current in your recording head, but probably you will not be able to read it properly. So the signal will be so low, or the induced current will be so low, that even after amplification, it is not easy to read it. So you also need a high enough magnetization, and that is where a lot of research happened on what kind of storage material one can use. And of course, another thing which always in industry they look for is the cost. So it should not be that expensive. And typical materials that were used are this gamma iron 203. So again, this is the iron oxide, and these are the parameters. Okay, and then chromium dioxide was also used, which is even better than this gamma iron 203. and also has a better stability. And therefore, these were the materials choices for these magnetic tapes or wires. And they're still used this in this magnetic tape form. This chromium dioxide is mostly used. And one thing you notice here is they are not using really any metallic ferromagnetic system. So these are all oxides. And that is also good because they are not really, so there will be no issue of oxidation or anything with this material. So they are already oxidized. So even if you use in this environment, so there is no, so you don't worry about oxidation, because oxidation of any this metallic ferromagnetic system will lead to all, like, it will reduce the magnetization, it will reduce the coercivity, so all these properties will change. Therefore these oxides are used. Okay, so this is about the storage device. Now what do you need for a the recording head? So the recording head normally should have a high permeability. Okay, so it's like your electromagnet, right? So when you want to write something, so this is like pretty similar to your electromagnet operation. So it should have a high permeability, and of course, so the recording head should also have a, to be able to operate at different frequencies and low coercivity. But basically you need a good electromagnet so that you can apply, whenever you apply a current, so you get the magnetic field, and as soon as you remove the current, so no magnetic field should be present. So there should be no residual or remanence in that, or as, I mean, the remanence should be as small as possible. And therefore, what is used is a soft magnetic materials. So soft magnetic materials here are materials which have low coercivity. Okay, so their permeability is high and they have low coercivity. And those materials are normally preferred for your recording head. And the materials are basically soft permalloy, so iron nickel alloy, so but with a specific composition. And also people also use soft ferrites. So this permalloy will be a little bit cheaper compared to your ferrites, but soft ferrite is also a good material for your recording head as well. So these are the materials which are used. Okay. So this is about tapes. So now we will talk about the magnetic memory in a, like the hard disk form. Okay, so we have topic first. Yeah, okay. Any questions so far? Okay, so
Sir, I have one question.
yes.
So what can we do with the nanomaterials in the related to the magnetic memory or storage devices?
Yes, yes, we'll talk about that. So this particularly here, so uh, so this is again example of like the hard disk. So this is this magnetic tape is a different technology. So you use a very flexible uh, substrate in that sense. So the tape which you normally see is like a polymer which you can bend, and you can it is very flexible. And normally you coat your magnetic material, your iron oxide or a chromium oxide on top of that. So these are like uh, you can call them as a particulate medium, because there are some like particles or some materials that you can coat it on top of this flexible polymer substrate, so you can move and bend it. That is a different technology. But when this magnetic hard disk were used. So it is like a disc or like a drum. Okay. So now it is like a disc, of course, but in the beginning it was more like a drum. So it was very heavy and a lot of mechanical things are involved. So in the left, what you see is like the IBM, they used this magnetic drum as a hard disk. And it is again very similar to what we have nowadays, like a disk, but it is a longer version of that. And so again, it is a metallic part which is coated with some magnetic materials. And so this again, so each, so here you see like a very, so if you zoom in, carefully look at it, so you see like several discs are actually arranged on top of each other, and each disc you can think of is like a one track on your like in CD. So you have this concentric circles, okay, the tracks, or even in a hard disk also you have these tracks, okay. So here this is one disk represents like one track where the information is stored, and this entire thing on the left like is the electronics or the hardware to read and write this information. And so you move these disks and you reach like so you have to access certain points from which you can get the data. So you have to move mechanically or rotate this clockwise or anti-clockwise, because your read and write head is basically fixed. So you don't move that, but you move rather your whole disk, and you can access the memory. Okay. But in the modern hard disk drive, what you see is, I mean, a big reduction in the size. So here, this is like quite huge, and the amount of data it can store is like 4 MB. But nowadays you can store a 10 terabyte of data and you can really hold it on your hand. Okay, so you can just this is not much bigger than your hand, and this is where this research in the nanomaterials. So a lot of inventions happened or innovations happened, which led to this reduction in the size of the total size of the hard disk, and also there is an increase in the storage capacity, or the sometimes it is known as the areal density of the magnetic hard disk. So this is like when you open a magnetic hard disk, so what you see is it is known as a platter or a disk. So normally it is called a platter, which is your magnetic medium where you store the information. And then here you see the read and write head, this long arc here. So this is your read and write head. And this read and write head basically will move to so now you can move both. Your read and write head can move. You can also move your platter. So both have so they have to move mechanically, and then you can access a point where you have stored your data or your information. So the nanomaterials or nanotechnology, how that helped is actually, that is the biggest help they did in terms of improving this magnetic hard disks. So as shown here in the previous pictures here, so in 1956, so you have these are all massive hard disks that were used with very small amount of data that you can store. But nowadays they are reduced to such small sizes, and you can store a lot more information, and you can read even faster, write faster. So all these things have improved upon due to this nanotechnology. So what is, if you look at the read and write head, for example, so the the principle has not changed much. So you need an electromagnet basically to write it, but the design has improved so that you can write on a very small bits. Okay, and this technology was known as this reading and writing is basically based on, or let's say the reading has improved quite a lot. Writing is based on the electromagnetic principle, but reading is based on a principle known as GMR and TMR. So GM magnetoresistance and tunneling magnetoresistance. So which was awarded a Nobel Prize in 2007. Yeah, so we will talk about that in the tomorrow's class. So about this modern magnetic hard disk types. Okay. So
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
So this is again based on your thin film technology, and these effects you only observe in these thin film materials. So not really in a bulk material. You will not see this change, this magnetoresistance in a bulk material. Okay, we'll discuss about it tomorrow. Okay, any other question? Okay, so if not, so we'll stop for today. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.